recording now? Yes. Okay, great. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Hi, I'm Robin Stienberg. Welcome to National Critics' Choice Online News and Save with Hyatt for the Hyatt hotels around the world. Here I have a wonderful guest in my studio, and that is I have Robert Kiyosaki and his wife Kim, and as well as the founder of Success Resources. That will be, let me see, Mr. Not Patrick, right? Richard.
My name is Hanson.
Okay, sorry. No, on a serious note,
Richard.
Richard, the founder of the Success Resources, is one of the most revered organizer in Singapore and in the world. And first of all, I'd like to ask a question to Richard, if you don't mind, Mr. Kiyosaki, about your inspiration on why you have decided to have Robert and his wife to come to Singapore to share the blessings and the teachings on financial matters.
Well, I promote many world-class guru and leaders such as Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, but I would count Robert and Kim to be among the top of the people that we promote. And the reason why they are in this part of the world is because they are touching on a very important topic that really meant a lot to Singaporean and to Asian. That is about financial freedom, right? And as we all know that money doesn't drop from heaven, and most people doesn't learn about money from their parents who are themselves not rich, and because they're not rich, they can't teach their children what they don't know. And how do I contribute? The only way I can contribute is to bring in real expert who knows how to make it happen. And in the whole world, I would say that Rich Dad philosophy, which is created by Robert Kiyosaki and Kim Kiyosaki, would be the most effective education to help Asian Singaporeans to achieve financial freedom.
Amazing. And has that applied for your organization?
It certainly have. What I have done today, a lot comes from influence from Robert and Kim. And one good example is that many years ago, Robert inspired me to run my company. In a B quadrant, whereby as a business owner, it doesn't depend on me. But today, I run hundreds of seminars all over the world, and I'm not there. I'm here today because Robert. I love to be Robert and Kim, but I don't need to be in the office. In fact, I've only been to my Malaysia office once in a whole year. I'm not there, but because Robert inspired me to organize and manage the mindset of the business, whereby I don't have to be there. System and people do the work. So what I am today have very much influence from Robert and Kim.
Very well said, Mr. Richard, from Success Resources. And now I'll turn to Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. Really, many of my fans would like to know what's your inspiration behind your latest book, Unfair Advantage. Could you share with us?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Richard Todd because it was 1996. He invited me to Malaysia as well as Singapore. And that was the very first time I ever presented Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so we've been coming out here for years. In fact, I was at this hotel in Hyatt back in 1972.
Oh,
I was a Vietnam U.S. Marine pilot, and we had a lot of fun at this hotel.
Well, welcome back to the Hyatt.
Anyway, Unfair Advantage is really a Rich Dad, Poor Dad graduate school. Because I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad very simply as me as a 9-year-old boy with my rich dad, who was my best friend's father, telling me about why the rich get richer than everybody else. So people kept saying, well, how do you really do it? Because Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a very simple book. So then I wrote Unfair Advantage. And the reason Unfair Advantage is the title is because of the unfair advantage of financial education that we do not receive in schools. Our schools teach us to go and work for the rich, but never how to be rich. So this is about how I use debt and taxes. Because, the rich don't use their own money, and the rich pay little in taxes legally. So that's the unfair advantage. So that's what I wrote about in this book.
Amazing. And how about your wife, Miss Kim Kiyosaki? Please tell us more about your book. It's Rising Time. What is it all about?
Well, it's Rising Time is a book for women about money and investing, and people, I have to say, people often say, "Oh, well, Kim, you're wealthy because you married Robert." I mean, I hear that a lot, and I'm going to tell you, we met in 1984. We've been married 25 years now. When I met him,
I was broke.
he was broke. But we're a great team, and we built our companies together. And I'm someone that knew nothing about money. I knew nothing about finance. I knew nothing about investing. And Robert started to teach me what his rich dad taught him about money and investing. And then I began applying that. And so my passion now is educating women about money and about investing, because what happens to so many women is they don't make money a priority until they have a wake-up call, a divorce, the death of a spouse, a job layoff, an illness, and all of a sudden they're left to fend for themselves. And because so many of us haven't been prepared financially to take care of ourselves, we find ourselves, especially as we get older, in financial crisis. So It's Rising Time is a book about what is your dream financially, and then what do you aspire to, and then how do you acquire the information necessary, and then the most important step for women is how do you apply it? How do you get out there and actually do it? So this book is to inspire women to get out there and really take the action necessary to have their financial dreams.
Amazing. And speaking about financial dreams and fulfilling lost dreams, before I conclude, I'd like to ask Richard first, to give 3 points of advice for those who wish to aspire to be in your shoes as a great organizer of motivational programs, and then Kim, and then Mr. Kiyosaki, if it's possible.
Well, for me, it is kind of by nature. If you can't speak, can't teach, then you organize. I fall in the can't speak, can't teach, so I organize. So that is my nature. But I would say is that you want to achieve financial freedom or your dream, you need to be educated. As Robert says, education is the highest leverage, and an unfair advantage comes when you are fully, you are educated. Then you have advantage over those who are not educated. Money flow from uneducated to educated people who are educated. So this is what I want to share.
And how about you?
Well, I want to say that for Robert and I, when we got together, oftentimes the first gift a boyfriend will give a girlfriend might be a nice piece of jewelry or a fancy dinner or a trip. Well, the first gift Robert ever gave me was an accounting course. That was my first gift. He wanted to make sure I knew my assets from my liabilities. And but what happened is that turned on my love of learning. And Robert and I made a vow early on that if we were going to be together as a couple and as a married couple, we were going to learn together, because we see so many couples grow apart over the years. So if we take a seminar, we take it together. If there's a book he's interested in, we read it together, and vice versa. And that's probably been the most important thing for us, is as business partners and as husband and wife, we grow together, we learn together, and that makes all the difference.
Amazing. And so to conclude, Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, what will be your lifetime advice for those who aspire to get rich?
Well, I think the problem in the world today, there's too much greed. And there's just too many greeds, like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. These guys are greedy. And you can get rich by being greedy. Yet there are other capitalists who are generous. And I made up my mind long ago, which was taught by my dad, my poor dad, and my rich dad, is to get rich by being generous. And really that's what I like to say, because as the fear around the world grows with this financial crisis, people start pulling in. And I really learned in Sunday school, give and you shall receive. And I've made it a practice to give and give and give and give, not stupidly, but the more I give, the more I receive. And especially in today's economic crisis, I think we need to be more generous. That's me.
Well, thank you, sir. And thank you for joining us at the National Critics' Choice. Save Hyatt. I'm Robin Stienberg. Thank you for watching.
1, 2. Okay.
Great.